Next, I would like to invite Kevyn Morris to the stand to give the second opening address. I will read out. Kevyn is an experienced businessman who lives in Wodonga, Victoria, with his wife, Leanne. He's been an active health advocate, having helped establish a men's Indigenous health group in northern Queensland. He has also established an online group for people with mild cognitive impairment and dementia, which has members from across the globe. Kevyn has a strong interest in research and worked with Monash and Swinburne University on a number of different projects. Kevyn is currently a member of the NHMRC National Institute for Dementia Research Consumer Involvement Programme Reference Group, established in 2018, and is also a member of Dementia Australia Advisory Committee, and has held this role since September 2017. Kevyn is a photographer and has been involved in taking photos for numerous events in his local community. He was also commissioned to take photographs for the Dementia Friendly Communities website. So welcome, Kevyn.
Good morning and welcome to you all. Do you know why you're here? Do you know the person next to you? Maybe you just don't remember. What do you do? For many, this is a question they are confronted with on a daily basis. For us, this was a question that hit us without warning.
Take a breath.
My wife, Leanne, and I had raised a family who by now were all off leading their own lives. We started, built, and operated a successful business in Tasmania for a number of years. But we felt it was time to start the next chapter in our lives. In Tasmania, we had turned our hands to designing, producing and selling handmade Tasmanian hue and pine furniture and art. We were very successful with our works in homes and businesses throughout Australia and the world. We decided to move to Wodonga in order to establish a mainland outlet for our pieces, hoping to emulate the success we'd had here in Tasmania. For some time, even before we left Tasmania, what started as an every now and then thing was the kids saying, "But Dad, we told you that."
Come on. Big breath.
I'm sorry.
You want me to read it?
It was a slow, barely noticeable change, but Leanne began to notice the amount of things I wouldn't remember had increased. She tried to get our doctors in Tasmania to listen, but she was told I was too young to have memory issues at my age. Maybe it was just as the old joke said, women can multitask, where men can only do one thing at a time. But we do it very well. The joke ended around July, August. What started with me not remembering a few things ended when I couldn't remember how to use a piece of equipment I'd used previously for better than a decade. I didn't know how to turn it on. I'd get cranky and snap at Leanne and the kids. I couldn't remember things, conversations or people I'd met before. Leanne and the kids would constantly have to reassure me that they weren't keeping things from me. It's not been easy on them. I do apologise. I can never make it up to Leanne or the kids for those times. Some of the worst things for me are finding words in my mind, knowing they're in my head, but not being able to find them, losing my train of thought in a conversation, or forgetting the entire conversation or the subject of it, just not being able to bring it back. Tell someone you forget things and the response is, it's nothing to worry about, I do that all the time. Now I got through the emotional stuff, I'll be fine. If I can stop shaking. As a family of European and... Oh, yeah, sorry, I went too far.
Right.
To get some medical people to acknowledge that there is an issue can be a hard road. We hadn't had much luck with 2 GPs, an endocrinologist or a psychologist we'd seen previously here. Luckily, our GP in Wodonga listened to Leanne when she dragged me into his surgery one day and said, "Doug, there's something wrong with him, and if we don't find out what it is, I'll go to choke him." It still took near 3 months to book an appointment, and then another 6 to 8 weeks before seeing anyone. Wodonga doesn't have a lot of services, just as many small towns and don't have that metropolitan areas do. However, we found Dementia Australia and things changed for the better. Those changes in our lives have now brought us here to you. Today and tomorrow you will hear much about research projects dealing with mild cognitive impairment, dementia, Alzheimer's, and many others that fall under the dementia banner. Research is the sum of many parts, including those that have the conditions, loved ones, those that care for them, the many dedicated ones who work in care facilities, health organisations, universities, research facilities, government departments, and other stakeholders. But with all things, we must start with the foundations. Being a member of Dementia Australia has allowed me the opportunity to see things from all sides. It has provided me with a chance to be involved as a person with a cognitive impairment in the practical part of research, such as working with Swinburne University on the use of technology for people with any form of cognitive impairment. As we had no help from other sources, and Dementia Australia, for privacy reasons, weren't able to give us a name of anyone in our area that we could talk to about what was happening, not only to me, but to my family, to Leanne, the kids. So we started a site for people with cognitive impairments. We now have carers, health workers, professional people from all over the world. People who have all had to deal with these conditions in their lives. Their shared experiences and knowledges have helped me answer and advise on research projects, policies, forums, etc. Now, this is the part where I was. As a family of European and Indigenous ancestors, Indigenous culture is a large part of my family's life. Indigenous people make up around 2% of Australia's population, but we have a shorter life expectancy than most other Australians. My hope is that more of our Indigenous family will be able to participate in advocacy and research with organisations like Dementia Australia and other institutions in order to learn and share that knowledge with other Indigenous people. Australia has been enhanced by many cultural and linguistically different people, with many viewing dementia as an evil spirit or something to be denied, shut away out of sight, out of mind. Today's researchers must not only plan their research, but also plan it in such a way that these diverse cultures can see the benefit of participation. It will take time, but we do need to get those with suspected dementia-related conditions to receive early diagnosis and treatment where possible in order to prolong their life, but also the quality of it. The things I've learned about cognitive impairments from participating in research programs, forums and discussion groups have helped me change the lives and understanding of many people that we know. I lost my spot. Okay, last year I was asked to speak at Parliament House in Canberra to tell some of my story, but to also try and explain to politicians and department heads the importance of financial resources to organisations like Dementia Australia and the National Institute for Dementia Research. Organisations such as the Dementia Australia need continuous financial support to further advance the search for answers to these debilitating conditions. I've been asked for my thoughts and ideas on a number of things, such as dementia-specific care facilities, or how cognitive impairment impacts on the intimacy of a relationship. As a result of being on the Dementia Advisory Committee, I was part of developing recommendations for Dementia Australia's submission on the terms of reference for the Royal Commission into Aged Care and Safety. Dementia research has not only changed in the last decade, but how it is achieved has also changed. Last year, I was included as an expert panellist representing consumers in Monash University's project to develop, this is a mouthful, clinical quality indicators for the National Dementia Registry. For the first time, a person with a cognitive impairment, that would be me, was to be included in the planning, implementation, correlation, report and presentation of a research project. At the conclusion of that project, I'll share the privilege of being named as a co-researcher along with professors, doctors, researchers and department heads. Last page. It shows not only wisdom to include those with dementia-related cognitive impairments, but it demonstrates how far dementia research has progressed over the last decade or so. The progression is such that it now involves people who have cognitive impairment and carers in all aspects of research and in decision-making. Research institutions and organisations such as Dementia Australia have shown us all that having a dementia-related cognitive impairment does not mean that our lives are over or that we have nothing to contribute. On the contrary, we have much to offer, not only towards research, but we can contribute to designing, planning and implementing changes. We are capable of being part of a decision-making at all levels, including executive levels. One such example came when I was asked to be part of a panel with the Dementia Australia Research Foundation, which we were asked to review research proposals for the round of grants available at that time. As anyone who has seen a research proposal knows the complexity in which they can be written. I have a grade 8 education. So for us who do not hold multiple degrees, they were processed into layman terms, as it were, and we decided on what we considered not only the most appropriate, but also the most realistic proposal. It would appear it was a good system, as the ones I picked were also the ones that the other panel members picked and the Researcher Foundation agreed with. Dementia does not pick and choose. It cares not for your education, for your social place in the world. It does not discriminate. Its changes can be subtle or so fast you won't know what hit you. I can explain how I feel with a cognitive impairment. I can tell you what effects those changes I have made on mine, my family's lives, and our friends. What I cannot do is make you feel what it is to have a cognitive impairment. I cannot teach you how it will affect your life. However, what I can tell you with certainty is that we need ongoing and continued funding, whether it be from governments and the public purse, from private enterprise, or for interested stakeholders. Without continued funding, we not only fail ourselves, but we fail those who in time may develop these insidious conditions. I have faith in you all that we won't. I, and many like me, need your help. My name is Kevyn Morris.
Come on. You're done.
And I have a cognitive impairment.